You're listening to Strawberry Ink. I just now finished recording my Michael Barisone episode, and I'm back with another big case, one even bigger, one that made national headlines, maybe even worldwide headlines. I am not recording from the studio. I am with a device having a joy walk with Fury. So, this is a true crime podcast that paints horror in shades of red. I'm your host, Santiago, and today we're revisiting one of the most chilling modern cases of violence that could happen inside a small shelter with barely effective exits to escape from. This is a story of Bryan Kohberger, the murders of 4 students in Moscow. Moscow, it's not the big city in Russia, it's a small town in Idaho. And a big investigation followed a number of years ago. It was fall 2022. 5 young women were renting a 3-story home on Keene Road, a house just off the University of Idaho campus in the rural college town of Moscow. The town had not seen a single murder since 2015, but that would all change in the early hours of November 13th. The home had 6 bedrooms, 2 on each floor, built on a hillside. It had entrances on both the first and second levels. 2 of the girls, Kylie Goncalves and Madison Mogan, had rooms on the top floor. Though Kylie had recently moved out, she returned that weekend to show Maddie her new car. That night, they decided to sleep in Maddie's room. On the second floor lived Kernodal, who was spending the night with her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin. Ethan did not live there. He was visiting from his fraternity, Sigma Chi, where the couple had attended a party earlier that night. The first and second floors also housed 2 surviving roommates. By 2 in the morning, all 6 residents and Ethan were home. Madison and Kylie had been downtown, stopping at a bar and a food truck. Surveillance footage tracked down their return home, which was 1:56 a.m. Zana and Ethan had come home just 10 minutes earlier at 1:45 a.m. Between 2:26 and 2:52 a.m., Kylie's phone placed 7 unanswered calls to her ex-boyfriend. Madison's phone followed with 3 more unanswered calls to the same number. Authorities would later confirm he had nothing to do with what was about to unfold. Sometime before 4 a.m., Zana received a DoorDash order, a sign that she was still awake. Around 4:12 a.m., her TikTok account showed recent activity. A surviving roommate on the second floor was awakened by strange noises coming from the upstairs. She initially thought it was Kylie playing with her dog. But soon she heard a voice, possibly Zana, saying, "There's someone here." Months later, the roommate heard what sounded like crying, and a man's voice, unfamiliar and chilling, saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Security cameras from a nearby property captured the sound of whimpering, a loud thud, and a dog barking. The roommate opened her door again and saw a man in black clothing and a mask walking past out the kitchen sliding glass door. She did not scream, she did not move. She stood frozen in shock, then locked herself in her room. All 4 victims were stabbed to death in their beds. No signs of restraint, no signs of gagging. The scene was brutal, blood on the walls. Kylie and Maddie were found in the same room on the top floor. Zana and Ethan were found in Zana's room on the second floor, but the 911 phone call would not come until early noon. Before police were alerted, the surviving roommates had contacted friends thinking one of the second floor victims was unconscious and would not wake up. At 11:58 a.m., a call came from one of their phones. Police arrived to find the door open and multiple people, the two surviving roommates and other students, waiting. There were no signs of forced entry. Nothing appeared to be missing, but inside the house, there were 4 dead bodies. 4 people gone. The Lata County Coroner's Office confirmed that these 4 people had been murdered. All 4 had been stabbed to death multiple times. Kylie Gonclaves, Madison Mogan, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. His celebration of life was held at the Skagit Valley College in Washington, his home state. On November 21st, he was laid to rest at the Hawthorne Memorial Park. Kylie, Maddie, and Zana's funerals were coordinated by the Yates Funeral Home. Kylie's was on December 30th at the Lake City Church in Coeur d'Alene. Zana and Maddie were honored together at Real Life Ministries Church in Post Falls, Idaho on January 2nd. Zana was buried at the West Rest Haven Park Cemetery in Glendale, Arizona. Kylie and Maddie were cremated as law enforcement tracked DNA, cell phone pins, and a suspicious white Hyundai Elantra. The investigation eventually led across the country to Pennsylvania. Bryan Kohberger, a PhD criminology student at Washington State University, just across the state line from Moscow, was visiting his parents for the holidays. Thanksgiving. Surveillance teams monitored him at his family's home. DNA was collected from the garbage outside the house. It matched. Just before New Year's, an FBI SWAT team executed a dawn raid. They broke through the windows and doors, arresting Bryan in the kitchen, where he appeared to be preparing food. He was first taken to the Layton State Police Barracks and then booked into the Monroe County Correctional Facility. At his initial court appearance, Bryan stood beside public defender Jason Labar and prosecutor Michael Mancuso. He waived extradition before Judge Margarita Worthington and was returned to Idaho by U.S. Marshals. On January 4th, Pennsylvania State Police flew him from the Scranton Airport in Pennsylvania to the Moscow Regional Airport, where he was picked up by the Idaho State Police and then taken to the Lata County Jail. Bryan Kohberger's first appearance in Idaho was before Magistrate Megan Marshall. He stood silently beside his new attorney, Amy Taylor, as the judge ordered him to be held without bond. He was formally charged with felony burglary, the entry to commit a felony, and was soon indicted on 4 counts of capital murder. This was an indictment and formal charges announced by prosecutor William Wolford Jr. Following the indictment, Wolford announced the state would pursue the death penalty. Bryan Kohberger delayed entering a plea. He refused to do so until July 2nd, 2025, a day after Canada Day. I was in the airport and remember getting this notification on my phone in Houston. He had negotiated a plea deal, pleading guilty in exchange for the death penalty to be dropped. Then, on July 23rd, 2025, Judge Stephen Hippler handed down the sentence: 4 consecutive life sentences without parole for the murders and 10 additional years for the burglary. Everything else was vacated. Bryan Kohberger will never walk free again. But the case is not entirely closed. Appeals are expected. In September 2025, Judge Hippler refused to let him withdraw the guilty plea, and all other matters are pending. He is expected to request a different kind of sentencing, maybe a revised sentence, but that is not for sure. And obviously, he is also expected to appeal to the higher courts in order to see if he could one day be freed. Kylie, Maddie, Xana, Ethan, they had dreams. They enjoyed getting to meet new friends, and they had plans in life. One night, it all ended. If you or someone you know has been affected by violent crime, please know you are not alone. Resources are available and so is support. Do a Google research on support systems, although insurance may be a blockade. This has been Strawberry Inc. I'm your host, Santiago, and until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and keep telling stories. Have a good rest of your day, and may the victims rest in peace.